SIRUDI home, the remix. What can I say about this song? So many things I can say. It came at a time I had decided that I'm done crying over my failures or how things are not working out for me. And this is how I'll tell this story for the ones who probably think ini wimbo niliangukia tu na ikakuwa hit na no. There's a whole thing or story behind it. So I released SIRUDI home right after I had released Uko. And Uko gave me stress because I didn't have money for a video, but I knew for a fact it had been such a long time since I released a song that I needed to release Uko. And while we were shooting this video, it was so hectic. The director, the day before, his phone is off. The day we were shooting, the location wasn't set up the way I wanted it. The camera I wanted wasn't around. I don't even know what camera we used for that video. And my spirit was so broken. And I was so sad and I was mad at myself. And even during the process of editing that video, it was still stressful because I think I had a balance for the director and I wasn't quite liking his work. I'm sorry, but it's a fact. We would have done better on that video if you're listening to this. And I have a friend who's very involved in what I do, and I won't mention them, but they were also starting to get frustrated because I couldn't understand why Maandy is so talented. Maandy makes great music, but there's so many issues. Mara it's money, mara it's the video, mara it's a release, mara sijui hana vixens, mara hana dancers, mara there's no transportation to the studio. And most times we would argue, we would fight. And that one time when the director had edited the video and we saw it and it wasn't what we were expecting, I argued with my friend and I went home and I cried. I cried. And I didn't cry because the video was bad. I cried because I just also couldn't understand. And I was asking God all the wrong questions. Mbona watu wengine wako na better things than me? Mbona mimi tu ndio sina views? Mbona nime struggle for 5 years na bado nakaa kama na struggle? Mbona ni mimi kila saa mbona? And most people don't know this, but I had been very sad about my music this past year. And it was just getting worse. It felt like it was getting worse because it was always a pity party for me at night. And maybe my mom saw this, but I was very sad half the time and she tried helping. She actually really tried helping. And for that I thank God. Mothers are a blessing, especially for creatives. So I stopped in the middle of my crying and I said, no, we are not doing this again. I literally sat like this and I said, God, are you listening to me? This is the last time I'm crying about my work. The last time I'm feeling sad about making music. The last time I have a bad video. The last time I have issues with a producer. And it's going to be the last time I have less than 10,000 views in a day. That's what I said. And I put it out into the universe. And I said, wacha ni release hii Uko na niombe tu Mungu vitu zifunguke. Actually sikuomba, nilidemand vitu zikwe better. So my attitude changed. I started posting more on Instagram. I met with my current manager and I gave him such a hard time because, man, I've watched so many series of how and had so many stories of how artists have been fucked up. And I just wanted to be careful because I couldn't have gone through all that suffering for 5 years and built such a foundation that was left me bleeding half the time and just go with anyone. So it took time for us to understand each other and to learn each other, and we met a few times. I told him about my idea for doing a remix for SIRUDI Home. I told him how I'd want Major on it, how I want, there was a whole list of artists that I wanted to ask. But here's the thing, things actually started changing for me, and like it felt like there was a gray cloud that suddenly cleared. And I wasn't sad, I was excited. Like every morning I'd wake up and think, what can I do today about my music? Before, it would be such a dreadful thought. And so yeah, now to the remix. I hit up Ndovuku and I was sure he'd refuse, but I said, let me just try. So I called him first and he asked me, who's going to be on the remix? Maandy is the first person I've asked. And I lied to him. I said, oh, Major is going to be there. I just said, Major is going to be there. Brida is going to be there. Nani, just big names. And he was like, this one is going to be a dope one. I'll send you a verse on Friday. So here's my thing with mainstream artists or artists who feel like they have a huge following. Most of them usually don't see value in collaborating with someone, regardless of how talented you are. So I was sure that's what he was going to do. Like I was sure he's bullshitting me. But Friday, I'm chilling with my friend, and what do I see? He sent me his verse, and it was brilliant. I couldn't believe it. Then I told myself, you see what happens when you're happy and you're positive about your work? It reflects into, like, it's like a wave. It stretches into everything else you do. And I had a verse from him, and I called Major. He said he's working on it, but then at the time he was having issues with his own music, with people taking down his music, which was not cool, by the way. So I thought, let me not push him into doing this. Maybe pia yako kwa hiyo phase ya manze music hata si lazima nini. Then I asked Brida, and obviously he came through for me. But one thing I'd say is I'm just grateful. I'm grateful because even when I was releasing that song, I knew it would change my life, and not change my life in ati sasa nimehamia Muthaiga. No, I knew it would change my life in a way that it will cause a ripple effect into everything else I do. And for me, it was just a stamp of approval that whatever I ask for, I can get. And I haven't looked back since. So if you look at that song, SIRUDI Home, the remix, and you think I was just a victim of circumstance, I wasn't. It took a lot. And sometimes we might just look at an artist on Instagram and you think, kuna kitu huyu anafanyanga, but there's a lot of emotion that goes behind everything we do, especially for me. Don't ever think or assume that I have released something and I wasn't emotionally attached to it. For me, when I release a song or when I make music, it's not for clout. It's not to have a reaction from people. That's just me in that moment. So I'm grateful it worked out the way it did. And it just had to be on the album also.
SIRUDI Home, jota budango ko off. Tabia mbaya nilingiza mbocho.
Ukinicheki hivi nina shida kama so. Kwa flow huwezi banjo juu vile kumechrome. After kulegalize na safisha na cologne. Nilipoteza key so siwezi rudi home. Siwezi rudi home. Siwezi rudi home. Nilipoteza key so siwezi